And welcome to our latest edition of Friday Conversation. We're joined now by the EIU football staff, and if you clicked on there, you saw Coach Gristic jumping in lately, and we were talking about that everybody in America seems to be on Zoom right now, and so internet connectivity and these new technologies have become even more so important. And I guess kind of what has you guys' experience been with this? Is this all new to you, or are these things that some of you maybe used at other places and now you're just kind of becoming more of experts on it?
I'll go first on that. I never used Zoom prior to obviously the stay-at-home orders and this current COVID-19 thing. So I do think it's something that is useful and that it's probably sticks around, from an education standpoint, or a chance to connect without maybe holding your phone on you. Because you can do it on a computer or connect to people and have some meetings that folks are across the country. So I think it's been positive, and it's been allowed us to get some things done and connect with people, connect with recruits, connect with our players in a way that works, right now. And so it's probably something that is with us for years to come, I would think.
Definitely new for me as well. I'm sorry.
No, good.
My thoughts on it. I think it's good, though. I think people are so conditioned now to just take out their phone and send text messages that it helps with the face-to-face conversation. Whether it's with players or recruits, it's just better, I think, for you to look at someone instead of just always automatically going to that.
Now, I would say more important than this, and I talked to the offensive side yesterday, and they've got all 5 of their guys on their staff returning. And unique in this is that 2 of the guys on this staff here, brand new, Coach Odom and Coach Manning, joining the staff. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Coach Manning, if you've actually met any of the guys face-to-face. I want to say you were kind of came on board right in the middle of the shutdown. So your interaction with your group is probably really only been through this Zoom technology.
Absolutely. Well, I came up prior to spring break for the interview, and I met a couple of the guys then. Obviously, we didn't know I was going to be their coach then, so it was brief. Met everybody on the staff, but honestly, the blessing with Zoom is that I'm able to kind of see everyone's name, click on gallery view, see their name, match a name with a face. So it's been good for me, and just connecting with the guys. That's the biggest thing I've been trying to do. But Zoom has been awesome. And for speaking on everything else, this is the first time I ever used it, but it's been great for me just connecting with everyone.
Now, Coach Odom, I think you may have had a little bit of an advantage. I think you were here for a couple of weeks before the kind of shutdown happened, so you at least had some face-to-face interaction with your guys. I know you haven't moved into a lot of the positional 20-hour stuff. That was still to come after spring break, but at least you've met some guys face-to-face, and this has probably only helped maybe build that relationship.
Absolutely. And with us, having a chance to meet, it's really helped. And so now they at least, I felt his presence at one point in time, and we've been able to build on a relationship. The thing that's been tough was me coming here. You get excited, you finally get the chance to be back on the field and Coach Spring, and all of a sudden, no, you don't. So that's been the tough part, but we've definitely taken this Zoom thing and used it to our advantage.
Now, one of the things I asked the group yesterday, and I'll kind of start with Coach Gristic on this, because as an alum here, I think one of the things outside people don't necessarily always think about is, the history tradition of players that have gone here. And then as you guys have, and maybe enlightened some of your current guys, is, they know the Jimmy Garoppolo and a Tony Romo and a Sean Payton, but you guys have been fortunate and brought in a lot of guys in other areas as well. And, what does that kind of meant so far in the process, and kind of what have been your expectations and what the reactions you've heard from the guys in your groups after hearing some of these guys?
It's been outstanding. And even for me, more than anyone else, just being an alumni, it truly makes me proud to learn about how much these guys still care about Eastern. I mean, I'm talking about guys that are 67 years old and I can't get them off the phone. For Jerkovich, I couldn't get Jerkovich off the phone. A couple other guys, it was like I ended up talking to him for 45 minutes about football. So it makes me proud. It makes me, really learn and learn from these guys. And it's great for our kids to hear their stories, because they can still relate to them now. And we're hoping to get those guys back on campus once the season starts rolling around.
Now, one of the things that I did ask him, and I'll ask each one of you guys then to kind of answer on this, is which one or two of maybe those guys has kind of stood out to you from maybe a personality or something that they kind of talked about. Coach Grista kind of hit on it there. I've met Coach Jurkovic before. He's a boisterous personality. There's a reason why he's on, national radio or in Chicago-based radio talking about NFL and sports like that. And, Sean Payton, I know you guys have had him on. He really kind of can command a room, and you can see why he has success as an NFL coach. Have there been one or two guys like that have kind of stuck out to you or had a message hit home? And I'll let each one of you guys kind of answer that, because it may be a different one for each one of you. Yep. However you guys want to go on.
So I'll go with Pete Houlihan was one for our guys. And I knew about Pete just because I'm from the same area. But it would amaze you how many kids from the south suburb know exactly who Pete Houlihan is, know where he played in high school, know what he did in college, know what business he runs. He's like, anything the dude says, the kids, he has their full attention. Like, whatever he says is gold to these kids. So it was cool it's easy for them to relate to him. So it's cool just to sit in the middle and just watch, like, here's this guy of the past that went through exactly the same things, had success right away as a freshman, and then I'm having him talk directly to one of our kids with a lot of success as a freshman. Well, how did you balance that, Pete, and not going to your sophomore year thinking you had it all answered? And he just hit everything you want from a coaching perspective to hit to a kid, and the kids take it in. So Pete is an asset to this program, and I love when he talks to our guys.
For me, it was Randy Melvin. He's coaching up in Canada, and he was so excited and had so much passion about Eastern. And he played a little while ago, but like he came into the Zoom meeting fully decked out in Eastern gear. And he spoke to our guys and talked about the things that helped him while he was here. And he spoke for about an hour. And it was as juicy and as passionate as anyone I heard, anyone else that I heard. And he was really just trying to tell our guys, like, hey, you have a rich tradition here. And we have to understand that, we're here to pour in you guys. We're in to help. And so it was just cool to sit back and get a bunch of nuggets from him and just really, bottom line, feel his passion.
I would say it's hard to pick one on our end. Like, obviously, the two guys that spoke to the whole team, Jimmy and Sean, were great, phenomenal, really. And obviously, as a coach, I think listening to Sean, his perspective was pretty special. And my Panthers games team, we had a group FaceTime with Mike Shanahan, and then we had Greg McMahon, who's the special teams coordinator at LSU, and then we had Tim Kelly at the Texans. So to try to differentiate and be like one of them was, they're all great. I would say when Coach Gristic talks about people who have a passion well into their career, Greg McMahon's energy level and passion for EIU was just so unmistakable. And obviously, Tim's a lot younger. He had great insight. And personally, when Coach Cushing said to me, it's like, you got Mike Shanahan, Coach Bowers, you want to ask a question? I was like, how do you narrow down one question to Mike Shanahan if you're a college football coach? But it was – the whole thing has just been a tremendous experience, for our student athletes most of all. But, yeah, the passion of the alums and their commitment and the experience they had here, I think it's really I leave every conversation with goosebumps and just feel more privileged to be a part of it.
For me, just coming in, from afar, I saw the great tradition, playing 1AA football, seeing those guys in playoffs and all those things. I had a great sense of respect for the program, but it grew during this project. And, I told the kids, how grateful we are, to be able to connect with, we talked to Ray Jeske, we talked to Rocky Becker, we talked to Scott McGee, I don't want to leave anyone out. We talked to Jerry Brown. Those guys were phenomenal. They talked about the national championship team. And the one thing that stood out for me is, Rocky Becker, he's from a small town. Stephen Elmore in my Panther game team, right? Long snapper, a guy that I probably wouldn't connect with, but seeing that connection, those guys kind of had a similar interest in major. They're from the same area. And for those guys to connect, it was special. And just the passion, those guys, you could feel it. They were excited to talk to those young men. They were fired up, the pride they had in the university. It gave me goosebumps. made me excited. And that was the biggest thing I took from, but it was phenomenal, honestly.
Ray Jeske was phenomenal. I talked to him. I didn't want to stop talking to him. He was on the national championship team. Coach Manning just mentioned him, and he was unreal.
Now you guys have been able to kind of do some individual things with your groups. And I know one of the things that you're missing out on is the ability to actually get out on the field. And so what has kind of been the emphasis now, unique for you guys, I think, is that you've built through Zoom, you built a team-wide thing, essentially like you would walk into the building. And then you guys have been able to do individual rooms, whether that be defense, corners, linebackers, safeties. What becomes the emphasis right now with your guys in the fact that you haven't been able to get on the field with them?
Doing a great job in school. That's the first one, and connecting with them that way and having some accountability group wise and the whole thing with school. That's the first one. And then there's several others. I'll let someone else pick a second or third.
Football-wise, mine is just eyes, assignment, execution, just trying to get them to know exactly where, what, and how. That's the best we can do right now, so I want to maximize that.
Also with that, I think one thing that Coach Cush is really pushing all of us as a staff is, as it pertains to football, being creative teachers, in taking your time and teaching the basics, and using this time to also say, fellas, okay, we may be here for a minute in this situation. What don't you know? And this is a time for this to be a true conversation where if you're going through spring ball, if you're going through a fall camp, you don't have the time to sit there and reteach and go not just install one, it's 1A, 1B, and 1C. And so this has been a great opportunity for us to get that detailed with it.
Yeah, to touch on what Coach Odom just talked about, just football one-on-one, for me coming in has been a blessing in disguise, because we were able to slow down things. For me, teaching, the biggest thing I want to make sure our guys understand is how they fit into the puzzle, why we're doing what we're doing. The thing now, we can slow down. We don't have to install. So we can slow down, teach these guys football, and, just innovative ways to keep it interactive. We're doing games, tests, just to kind of make sure that whatever we're putting on the wall is sticking. So that's been a good thing, and just being able to slow down. That's been the best thing for me and just my guys, so we all can understand what we're talking about. We can all speak the same language, so to speak.
Now you talk about games and you guys are trying to have fun. You can only do so much, sit on the Zoom, look at the computer without kind of, racking their brains. I think I had a professor tell me one time that, you put the kids in class for 50 minutes. The stuff you need them to really remember, you try to put in that first 15 or 20 minutes, because after that they're there, but they're not really there. You guys have done some unique ways in trying to break this up and doing some fun things. And I kind of asked the offense this, so I'll throw this out to you. You guys had a team Madden challenge the other day. And so amongst yourselves is like, if the 5 of you guys were in a tournament, and I don't know that the coaches were in it, who comes out the winner? And then which one of you what's your kind of Madden team to go to?
You got to go 49ers, baby. You got to go 49ers. You got to let the kid spin it, man. That's what he does best. My squad.
Yep.
The last time I played Madden, it was on Sega, and it was in the 90s. But the team that I always like to pick, if you dominate people, was the 85 Bears. And that was even growing up in Ohio. I mean, if you could just let me control Walter Payton and Mike Singletary, we had a pretty good chance to win. If we had a tournament in this group, though, I would have to say that I probably would not win it, would be my guess. I haven't had a lot. As the young people say today, I haven't had a lot of time on the game.
The game.
I would definitely be with Coach Bowers, and I would not be in the finals amongst our defense. I haven't touched a game system in probably 5-6 years. But I think I made Coach Gristic mad when I first came or interviewed, because I talked about rooting for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, because that would be the team. My wife's from Kansas City, so that probably would be a little interesting matchup.
No doubt. I don't know. I don't know how I feel right now. I got a PS4 and I got Madden, but I probably played it maybe twice, so I don't think I'll do too well. I think it'll be a battle amongst all of us right now, though, be honest. And I got to rock with the Carolina Panthers. I'm a Carolina guy.
The Camless Carolina Panthers.
Teddy Bridgewater and C-Mac. Let's see what we got.
Coach Renna, I guess that makes you the default winner because you answered last.
I would play against Gristic with the Bears. I would select Khalil Mack, and I would just rush past the whole time. If you got a big enough lead on me, I'd just turn the game off and quit.
Now, one of the other things is you guys, you kind of have been locked in for about 4 weeks now. And I guess one of the things, maybe longer than that, you lose track of time. Sometimes we lose track of what day of the week it is, I think. And you look outside, and it's rainy and dreary right now. Midwest Illinois, spring is. What do
I
you
don't know
kind
what
of
you're talking about, Rich? It's never rainy and dreary in Charleston, Illinois.
Well, not in Charleston, but I'm talking about the rest of the state.
Okay.
All the other places that are recruiting the kids we're on. It rains and snows there all the time. So, but what do you kind of look forward to maybe getting able to go back and do again that you kind of lost, that you took for granted, that now you haven't been able to do for the last couple of weeks?
Can we answer margaritas on a patio somewhere?
Sure.
Pretty much would be it right now.
No doubt.
And then
I would
I
just
guess-
like to be in any public setting where I can communicate and hang out with people that I know. Right now, the only people that I see are just random people at Walmart, and I'd like to just go sit either at a restaurant or a bar or a patio and just talk with somebody who who I'm familiar with. So I'm just the interaction with people that I'm familiar with is what I'm looking forward to.
We ironically had this conversation earlier in the staff, and Neil and Grizz brought up something. I've taken for granted a gym, a weight room, in that, because I have a makeshift one here, but it's not the same, and I don't work as hard. It's a lot easier to quit when you're by yourself, opposed to you standing. You see Neil Renna doing curls. It's a little different.
Neil Renna's doing curls with more weight than I can bench press. It's a disheartening moment. As you said that, I just thought about how yesterday was such nice weather, and I thought, man, it'd be nice to leave the office and go pick up my son and go hit a golf ball, and you're not doing that. And obviously the chance to see family, and it is tough. None of them are within 2 hours, but we make plenty of trips up to the Chicago area to see my wife's family, or Columbus to see my brother. And, my parents stop in the spring typically, but obviously they aren't doing that now. So I think seeing family, and then you said anything in public, it gets kind of, my daughter was here, she would say, play with my friends. The social gene in her is really getting tough, but yeah, that'd be the first thing for me, I think.
Yeah, that'll be for me, just kind of just going out to dinner and kind of just normalcy. I kind of like hanging out by myself. I'm not really into the big crowds anyway, but it's just a sense of normalcy, which is kind of beyond that right now, but got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I think there's a sense of isolation, and then there's a sense of you don't want to just kind of be by yourself. And I think people are finding out what the difference between those two things are as you go through that, and you realize that, just being by myself for a weekend is a lot different than being by yourself for an extended mandated period of time. So you are stuck in the house, and I guess have you guys found yourselves? Is there a guilty pleasure? Coach Cushing, he said that his thing he's trying to avoid is the kids still have some Easter candy left, so the Reese's peanut butter eggs. Is there a thing you have to make sure that you don't go hit, the refrigerator or the snack cabinet for it? It's very tempting, probably just being right outside the door.
I have to at least walk upstairs to get mine, and there aren't a lot of stairs. But I would say it's the opposite. Is what can you go do? I haven't always been real consistent with walking my dog. She has a doggy door in this house that she learned to use. I mean, she can go get out whenever she wants. I don't have to come home during the day to walk her. But now that I'm home, just to get out of the house and move, I make sure we walk our dog every single day. So that's the opposite. That's something that's positive. But I'm not really, we had a birthday cake for my daughter, and I didn't shy away. There was didn't last long. It was not going stale with me around. So Coach Cushing probably stayed away from the Easter candy, but like my kids had to hide theirs, So
I was able to challenge Coach Roscoe to eat 9 hot dogs, which he got done in under 2 hours, but it wasn't even like a competition for him. God, that was fun.
I've sort of given up. I've had key lime pie for dessert the last like 8 nights in a row. I started the shelter in place eating healthy, and it's kind of veered off in the wrong direction. But I'm getting a lot of key lime pie, and it's fantastic.
I'm with Coach Grizz. Like we've been eating healthier, drinking water. We got a freaking Peloton and working out and stuff. And then the past 3 nights, I look up, man, my wife Brittany and I are eating vanilla bean ice cream with like smashed up Thin Mint cookies from Girl Scouts, and it's so good. But it's killing me right now.
I mean, Justin, though, right, Justin? Not us.
I'm not gonna lie. With all this time, the chocolate chip cookies are getting baked a little more. So I'm trying to, wean myself off the chocolate chip cookies. I did good for a while, but all this extra time, my wife brings them in, and it's hard. So
you don't feel bad. Earlier, Coach Young said that him and his wife like to cook, and they've spent a lot of time cooking a lot more things than they would have beforehand, and so he's not shying away from the food either. So then you talk about you get stuck inside and you want to get out and do other things, and I know I think everybody watched The Last Dance this week as the big thing. But other than that one, if you didn't watch it, kind of what's been your guilty pleasure or the series or show you kind of find yourself kind of going back and watching over and over? I've been fortunate. I've avoided Tiger King. I'm probably going to be able to avoid Tiger King, but I know that was one of the ones that was trending.
Avoid it.
Don't avoid it?
You got to see it.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, I'm not a huge TV watcher. In fact, since there's no live sports, I just paused Hulu the other day because if it's not going to be on Netflix, I'm probably, I'm reading most of my news. We're working a ton, and so I play with my kids a few hours, and then in the evening when they're in bedtime, I'm usually hanging out with my wife and we'll do a movie. But typically during the week, that's recruiting calls and meeting prep for the next day. So, but I would say, if you stay where you feel guilty or like you got to take a shower after, or it's just weird, I did binge watch Tiger King. That's a real thing. I was told you will not understand the internet for several weeks if you don't watch it. So I did. And I would recommend it. It makes you feel better about your life. No fact.
Okay.
Doubt about it.
Didn't like Tiger King. I tried Ozark, couldn't do it. Actually, what I like doing is I like watching shows that I've already seen because, like Coach Bauer said, I know what's going on, so I can sit there and draw on the iPad for the meeting or do something work-related because you end up working longer than you thought you would. So I did Sons of Anarchy and then Prison Break, and I started Sopranos now for literally the 6th time start to finish, like 3 nights ago.
I've been doing NFL Game Pass. It's pretty cool. It's a website. It's free right now. And you can watch any NFL game from the coach's film for the last like 5 years. So, typical football coach, we do football all day, and then sometimes at night when I don't want to watch TV, I'll just throw on an NFL game. A little bit of that. So NFL Game Pass has been a really cool deal that I just learned about a couple of weeks ago. Coach Fillmore actually told the group about it. It's been fun. More football.
So Brittany and I, we like to watch Netflix. We Netflix and chill. One movie, Uncorked, really, really good on Netflix. And then I tried to get Coach Renner to watch Ozark. Big Ozark fan. Very hard not to binge. Those are like favorite movie right now and then favorite series.
So for me, I tried Tiger King. I watched like 1 episode and I was good on it.
What?
Then been watching All American. So been watching All American. My little brother told me about it, so I've been watching that based on a true story. And but like for me, what I've been trying to do is kind of like I've been treating it like normally if it's the weekend, I try to watch games. So I've been watching all those freaking classic games on ESPN Classic, ACC Network, Big Ten Network. So I just been watching all these freaking old games and kind of reliving those memories, watching it again. But it's been good, and NFL Game Pass, but just watching football, really all the things that kind of I've missed, kind of living in the coaching world, games that you never really get to see all the time because you're tied up in your own game.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here in just a minute. I got one more question for you, and I'll let Coach Bowers designate who goes in what order here as the coordinator. He'll get to do that. Kind of the song or the artist that is maybe for you define the quarantine. And I thought about this question. I posed it to the offense. I was watching regular TV the other night, and they had the Grammy salute to Prince, and they started with "Let's Go Crazy," and it kind of just made me think, everybody's in that mentality right now. So, kind of what song or artist, has kind of defined your, I guess, what are we talking about, 4 or 5 weeks that you've been somewhat isolated or quarantined from other people right now?
All right, I'm going. The person below me on my screen is Coach Manning. So we're going to start with you, and then we're going to go newest to most veteran until we get back to me.
So song, I wouldn't say it's a certain song, but an album, Rod Wave, Pray for Love. I've been liking that song. He's been pretty deep. He's kind of going through his memory lane, and it's kind of heartfelt. I've been listening to that a lot.
For the same kind of deal, there isn't a song per se, but one thing, Britt and I moved into a house for the first time since we've been married. And we always said, whenever we do, we'll get a record player and buy vinyls. And so there's been 2 opportunities where we've okay, there's a section of vinyls. We each get to pick one. And we've done it twice now. And I've chosen 2 Kanye albums, and she chose a Chris Stapleton album. And we played those kind of late at night and just kind of chill. And so, yeah, Chris Stapleton's kind of funny amongst our staff. But, yeah, Kanye West and Chris Stapleton, that's kind of our playlist.
I say Luke Combs radio. Just open a window, and it's hard to be in a bad mood when you got a good country song on.
I would say for the younger guys who haven't gotten into them, Bill Withers just passed on April 3rd. And if you haven't gotten to Bill Withers, you're missing out. He's got some absolute classics, songs that you've heard, and they're in many movies. So that would be my binge listen.
I would have to say I like it when I click on the staff room and Coach Rona has his Luke Combs going. That will be, you can hear it through the speaker if he's not muted. My wife's playlist is on a lot when we're cooking and doing dinner, and my daughter has heard it enough that she knows some of the songs. So more than a specific song or artist, I kind of have Davlin singing songs where she doesn't quite know the words or what she's saying yet. Kind of probably one thing from this time period that'll stick to me is just her trying to sing with stuff. And in case you don't know, if anyone's curious, if you're in an interview and you ask what range or what type of music you listen to, if you ask Coach Manning, Coach Odom, that they will tell you, they say anything from the answer is anything from Chris Stapleton to Kanye, or Chris Stapleton to Travis Scott, something, right? And so they both answered that in their interviews within days apart from each other, which is why we laugh. Chris Stapleton is the unofficial artist of the Eastern Illinois Panther defensive staff, I guess.
Chris Stapleton got some soul, baby.
I agree with that. If we had to put one, I agree with that, Bowers. Chris Stapleton's a guy.
Yep.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, guys, and hopefully everybody will be able to get to where you guys will be able to have your meetings in person and have some of these jokes not over Zoom, but face-to-face in Coach Bowers' defensive room there, and hopefully you'll be having the guys back to have those meetings with them as well. So thank you for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers is right.